and welcome to another episode of the Farr Show, where I'm David Farr, and tonight we're talking about Transformers Rise of the Beasts, where some basic info. This is directed by Steven Kalpa Jr., who directed Creed 2. I liked Creed 2. I think it was the weakest of the Creed films, but that's not important. Then we got screenplay by Jabi Harold and Danielle Murphy, Josh Peters, Eric Holbler, and John Holbler. And the story's by Jabi Harold. So, no idea who any of those guys are, but they wrote the movie. That's not important. We gotta talk about the cast here, where we get some of the humans, where you got Anthony Ramos as Noah Diaz. And then, I left out the other lady, I forget her name, honestly, because I wrote most of this before seeing the movie, if I'm being honest. But you got Michael Kelly as Agent Burke from G.I. Joe, which they're setting up a crossover, which is kind of cool. How they're going to do that, I don't think this is going to tie into Snake Eyes' origins, but who knows. So, we got the Transformers, which Peter Cullen is back as Optimus Prime, Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal, Peter Dinklage as Scourge, not Scrooge. You got Michelle Yeoh as Air Razor, Pete Davidson as Mirage, and Joe Murder, the guy who plays Marcus Phoenix as Stratosphere. Joe DiMaggio? Something like that. Whatever. Pretty much the story, this is pretty basic. It's the Autobots need a key to go back home. The Maximals need to stop Unicron. And once Optimus Prime knows that Unicron's coming, he's like, we gotta stop those bad guys. And it's like, okay, well, cool, I guess. So, I don't really want to talk too much about it other than I wonder if there's gonna be a sequel. I'm not saying this movie's bad. I'd say it's like an FA, probably. It's not bad, but it's not great, if I'm being honest. Maybe it's more like an FAR, actually, now that I'm thinking about it again. But, what's the future of this? Is there gonna be another one? I think they're gonna make one more, at least, so then they can complete the trilogy. It's a weird trilogy when Bumblebee, this one, and then whatever's next comes up. Really, if they make another one, I hope they bring back Haley Steinfeld, and that's not just personal bias. I feel like her and Bumblebee had, like a bond, so it kind of makes sense that they would show up together again at one point. I mean, it never made sense that Sam and Bumblebee's bond just was gone from the first 3 movies, and then in the next 2, just not there. Seems kind of odd, but that's just me. So, the future of these movies here is they got Transformers 1, which is an animated film coming out September 13th of 2024, where they got the cast of Chris Hemsworth as Optimus, Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron, Scarlett Johansson as Alita, Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee, John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, and Lawrence Fishburne as Alpha Trion. That's a really good cast, honestly. It makes you wonder, they got that good of a cast for this. Don't get me wrong, I think they should not have Chris Hemsworth. I think they should have Peter Cullen. But, don't get me wrong, the cast for this one's great as well. Like, all the robot voices are always really, I wouldn't say greatly cast. They always use amazing actors. But a lot of them phone it in, let's just be honest there. So, who cares? I'm excited for that, and hopefully there's a sequel to this. Technically, I'd prefer a sequel to Bumblebee somehow, but that's me. I know this is technically a sequel to Bumblebee, but who knows? How is this going to fit in the timeline? Is this coming before Bumblebee then? So it's like Transformers 1, Bumblebee, then Rise of the Beasts? Who knows? I don't know exactly. And do these connect to the other movies? Because, I don't think they do, because they set up Unicron as the big bad at the end of the 5th movie, and now he's the big bad of this one? I don't know. Only time will tell how they reboot it. They already soft rebooted, so I don't understand. I don't know where they're going with these movies. As much as I like Transformers, I have no clue. So, let's do the smart thing, which is ranking all these movies. There's a couple of them here, so we got, to start off with, Transformers The Last Night, which I give an F. It's the worst by far, and I put it far with 2 R's just because I'm that way. I don't remember any of this movie. I'll be honest. Sorry, I remember Mark Wahlberg's in this movie. And, Peter Quill's mom, Star-Lord's mom, is in this movie. I was like, oh, that's cool. I don't get it, but okay, cool. Age of Extinction is next, where it's an F. And I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been The Last Night. That's for sure. It could have been worse. I don't remember much of this one either. I think it's just the thing. This one had Dinobots. I remember that specifically, but not great either way. Then we got Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, where I give it an FA. This one is made by the Force Fight alone. That is so good, and it just makes this movie so much better. That's the only reason worth watching this movie anymore, if I'm being honest. So, then we got Transformers Rise of the Beasts, which a lot of people are putting it like mid-tier, and so far that fits. I mean, this is pretty mid. I'd give it an FA. I'm on the fence between FAR or FA, so depending on the day, it may be an FA, maybe an FAR. I'm going to stay FA right now just because Mirage was funny, but the rest of the movie was just kind of like, eh. Other than the G.I. Joe reference at the end, which was great. So, I think we'd already talked about this. I think they should make a Bumblebee 2, though. Or bring Haley Steinfeld back for the next one. Who knows how they're going to do that, or if they're going to do that. But then we got Transformers Dark of the Moon, where I give this one an FAR. This one should have been the ending, at least of the Michael Bay movies. Because they kept going with Michael Bay movies, and it was a mistake. They shouldn't have kept going with Michael Bay movies, but they did. So, you know, this one was a pretty good ending. I liked it. I think it's the second best of the Michael Bay movies that he did. So then we got the Transformers, the movie, where I give it an FAR. This one has Orson Welles, which makes it already amazing. Orson Welles didn't really do much other than voice Unicron, but, you know, it was cool that they got Orson frickin' Welles to do it, which was awesome. Even though he died soon after and, you know, didn't really get to see the movie, it was still cool nonetheless to see Orson Welles. Even though here in the behind the scenes they had to put his voice through a synthesizer to make him sound like Unicron, it was still cool nonetheless. Then I got Transformers, the first one, where I give it an FARR. Nostalgia aside, it still looks amazing. The CGI looks great. The camera techniques, you know, there's not much. There's camera movement, but the way they do everything, it works so well. And this was the first, like, holy shit, CGI is the future movie for me. Like, don't get me wrong, there was movies that used CGI before, but nothing to this extent where a full character is not real. Don't get me wrong, it's a robot. So that's completely different than a human, but it's still cool nonetheless. Then finally, you should have seen this one coming. We got Bumblebee, where I give this one an FAR. And it's not just because Haley was in it. Or FARR, excuse me. And it's not just because Haley's in it. I think it's the best movie overall. Is it the best Transformers? There's not that much action. And the final fight's kind of really toned down compared to the other ones. But that's okay, honestly. This one was trying to be a more grounded in reality story. And it fits. It works perfect. Also, I heard John Cena was in it, but I didn't see him anywhere in this movie, so maybe I was just missing something. So, what do you think of the Transformers movies? Rank them in the comments below. Or tell me which one's your favorite, at least. Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and have a far off night.